What is consciousness? And what does it mean to truly live life awake? Welcome to Clarity to Consciousness, a podcast where we transcend beyond stereotypes, embracing a deeper understanding. I'm your host, Kristen Griffiths, a fellow seeker on this path. Join me on a journey as we dive into conversations with experts, unraveling stigmas, and expanding our awareness to something profound. This is your invitation to open your mind with me as together we bring clarity to the fascinating complexities of human consciousness. Welcome back to the Clarity to Consciousness podcast, where we seek to clarify the complexities of human consciousness. I'm your host, Kristen Leigh Griffiths. Today's conversation is a continuation of powerful dialogue I began with psychic medium Nicole Angel. This time, we're exploring a question so many people are quietly holding on to right now. Why does love feel so hard to find in 2026? Across cultures and age groups, loneliness and emotional disconnection are rising. Recent polling from the American Psychiatric Association found that nearly 1 in 3 U.S. adults reports feeling lonely at least once a week. AARP research similarly shows that about 40 adults age 45 and older report measurable loneliness, often tied to life transitions, caregiving, career pressures, and relationship challenges. So the question becomes, is love actually harder now, harder to find? Or are we being asked to love differently? Nicole Angel returns to help us explore this through both a human and spiritual lens. Nicole is an internationally recognized psychic medium with over 15 years of professional experience, known for her evidential accuracy and grounded, approachable style. And she connects with spirit guides, angels, loved ones who have crossed over, helping people find clarity through life's transitions. Today, we're exploring what spirit might be revealing about modern relationships, emotional readiness, and why connection feels more complex than ever. I'm so happy to have you back, my friend. Welcome.
Oh, thanks for having me. I'm so ready for this conversation, and all the guides are showing up. I'm paying attention to you and everything's flying in front of my face, all the angels, everybody's here ready to chime in on today's subject. So very excited to be here.
That's so exciting to hear. We welcome them. Thank you all for showing up. So, Nicole, I know we spoke a little bit about this before this recording. You have been getting this question a lot from your clients. So, from your connection with spirit, why does love feel harder to find right now than it used to ever before?
Yes, it's a great question. It's like the $1 million question that everybody asks in their sessions. So from a spiritual perspective, it really just seems that we're all kind of afflicted the same way. There's really no separation, which was really nice for me to feel and see counseling so many different people and so many different walks of life. So whether you're in your 20s or your 80s, we're really dealing with the same issues at hand. And there's a couple things that spirit brings to mind. Obviously the world has changed a little bit, but we're very reliant on technology, which is amazing because it brings us all together. It allows us to connect here today. It allows me to connect to clients in South Africa, in India, Indonesia, but then it also can segregate us at a moment because we're a little bit more used to talking to our phone than we are actually having conversations outside of the camera or outside of social media. And so we've kind of tilted a little bit when it comes to human interaction. We're a little bit more guarded. We don't want to be so vulnerable. And also it allows our consciousness, if we don't like something that's going our way, within 2 seconds, we can make the switch and find somebody else, or we can swipe left or swipe right. And it really doesn't lend itself to developing these deeper roots within our own culture, within our own mind, within relating to other people and how we want to show up in the world. So from a spiritual perspective, it just seems like technology is absolutely amazing for work and connection with community and learning about different ideas and sharing and creating business and educating ourselves. But when it comes to dating, now I do have clients that have met the love of their life on apps and all of the things and Facebook dating. And I definitely am a person that suggests that when that's powerful for that being. But on our day-to-day life, we're so used to just kind of disconnecting and going into our phone and hiding,
Mhm.
as opposed to doing an about face, looking up and just saying hello to people anymore. They really just, the angels
Mm,
are always talking to me about that in spirit.
really? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we all are guilty of it. I mean, it's sad. I was walking into the grocery store the other day and there was employees there. They could have been there just like welcoming the customers, but they were on their phones. And I thought of our conversation and I thought like it's so sad. Just those micro interactions are so important because I live alone. If I don't have those interactions, I'm going home and half the time I don't have my son. And so a lot of that time is spent alone and it definitely feels lonely for me. So I am definitely a part of that group that we spoke about in the beginning. And it's I look for those opportunities to connect when I'm not here.
Yeah, absolutely. I just started like taking my own medicine, so to speak. So when I'm
Mhm.
at the gym, when I'm at the grocery store, up here in the north, we have what's called Wawa. It's a convenience store. Like whenever we go in there getting gas, just saying hello to people, just changing. And it's the old adage, the old sage advice: create the world you want to be in, or create the world that you want to have around you. So if I'm
Mhm.
hearing that in spirit, now I'm going out into the world. I'm saying hello to people. I'm shaking people's hands. I've met a lot of single mothers in my community that way, and like they're hanging out with me. They're picking up my boys from class, or helping me get to appointments. And so you never know who you're going to meet. Like just at the bus stop the other day, and now this beautiful woman is like one of my best friends here in the community. And like I'm just so amazed how when we just take that little bit of time to get to know somebody and say hello to them and just kind of break us out of that to-do list or that daily checking off and going into our phone and making sure that everything's okay. And I like to set reminders. So I have alarms on my phone in the morning. So I do it 3 times a day, morning, noon, and night. And I'll have one that's called like new beginnings, or I have one that's called amen, or thank you, or gratitude. And it just kind of like reminds me, like, come back to the moment, be a human, come out of the technology bubble and say hello to somebody, even if it's like your kids, just understanding that we are disconnecting from the human more and more and being more reliant on our technology and the interaction there.
Mhm. Right, right. And I think something that is really important to talk about, I I was assuming that the loneliness or the difficulty in finding relationships is due to my age and where I am in life. I'm not going out the way I used to when I was in my 20s. And I don't know, maybe it's just like the way I am now, but I feel like I'm more of a homebody. But you're finding that that's not necessarily the case. You're hearing this from people of all ages. Is that right?
Yes, I'm specifically working with a gentleman in his 20s and then his sister in her 30s, and they really haven't had their first meaningful relationship yet. Now, what I said, that's beyond dating. So let's talk like long term relationship, marriage, engagement. And so their biggest thing is that they're not meeting people, and they go out. They are out. They're out at the clubs,
No.
they're out at the bars, they're at church, they're in gym settings, they're talking to people. And it's just like people are very reluctant to have that initial conversation. And again, it goes back to just relating on a human level. Who am I? How do I want to show up in the world? What am I attracting? And letting that guard down a little bit. So yes, so people in their 20s, their 30s, 40s, 50s, and then I had a client in her 80s the other week also saying the same thing. And she's at, this is such a cute story. She's at I don't want to call it like assisted living, because she does not need any help, but it's just a
Mhm.
community where people live who are retired. So I guess a retirement community. They have lunches together, they play card games, they go out to shopping, they go movies. And even they're having a hard time finding love. They want love and they want to relate to people. But again, it was, she was explaining to me that there is an expectation. Oh, this is really going to be funny. We're going to roll into some funny stuff. So I also have another woman in her 60s, and then I have another woman. in her 80s. And they were talking about men wanting to have sex in the second date. So
Oh my God. At that age, huh? Wow.
and I was like dying laughing because I'm like, Wait, so it happens to you too, not just in your 40s?" And they were like, yes.
God. I would
So
have hoped they would have matured at that age, but guess not.
and so, like, we're all dealing with the same issue. So, just bringing some levity to the topic, like, we're literally all cross boards, like age demographics, we're all dealing with the same issue. So, that lends itself. So, to me, from having that bird's eye view of counseling people, it's consciousness. It's where we are as a
Mhm.
society. It's our belief systems, the way that we're relating to people, the way that we get our media, the way that we interact, transact, our communities, our tribes, our communities, the things that really brought us into awareness. And I feel like for dating and having families has kind of disappeared too, which my girlfriend and I talk a lot about that anymore. Like, there's the family element has kind of moved in a way. It's not no longer that nucleus family. I forget how they call it. Like, it's like a mom
Mhm.
and a dad and children. So, like, we're
Yeah.
getting away from that idea, and we hopefully are moving into a more communal sense, which means we're coming back to basics. We're coming back to where we do need the tribe, we do need the community, we need people around us, especially as we are living these more independent lifestyles with the advancement of technology. And again, it allows me to be a single mom and pick up my kids and be there for every event. So I am not knocking technology, but now we
Mhm.
also have to look at the flip side is I have to make a valid effort to go out and meet people now. Like, that is my job, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you touched on a few things that I'd like to dig into a little bit more. So, w- going back to the women who feel like there's this expectation to sleep with a guy on the second date, you know, I can understand. I can relate to that. I feel like I've experienced that similar, I don't know, request, I guess you
Mhm.
could say. Um, but what that's caused me to want to do, especially if I'm not interested in that, I want to get to know somebody first, is to sort of put up like these blocks of protection and that kind of thing. And especially now when you're meeting people on the internet, you don't know who they are. They could be weird. Like, we're protecting ourselves, and I'm wondering if that protection is helping us, or is it more blocking our connection? What do you think of that?
Yeah, there's a whole lot I can say about that. So, coming in from the technology space, I do know that there's a lot of scam artists out there, as we all know. And I hope that people are educating themselves on that, what that looks like, and fake profiles. And people, we have to become more intelligent than the systems that we're using. And so, again, it's self responsibility. And so, yes, that bubble of protection, because I know when I became a single mother, I immediately put like shields of protection up around me. Like, I did not want to be hurt. I didn't want anyone to take away my time from my kids. I was very selective in who I brought around the children, and all of that is well and good, but we do have to bring it down a little bit just to allow those people to come in to our life and hopefully add value to it as we are adding value to somebody else's life. And again, this works for single mothers, single fathers, male, female, across the board, non binary, whoever you are on a global level. Like, you need to create that space of comfort and agility within, and then allowing that person to match that. I'm sorry, it's so funny because I'm listening to the angels. I'm like, okay, everybody's chiming in. So, my mom went on a date one time, and my mom is such a beautiful, genius woman, very tenacious, funny, very sarcastic, probably where I get a lot of that from. But she was catfished. And if anybody doesn't know what that means, we'll just say what that is like where somebody sets up a complete fake profile with fake names, photos, agendas, what they look like on a dating app. And so she was
Sure.
catfished one time, and that just really sent her into a tailspin of I'm never dating again because I don't want to go through that heartache and pain. So when I talk
Yeah.
about scam artists, that's what I'm talking about. People that are using the internet for their own selfish play or gain and not really in it. So again, it brings us back to self responsibility and awareness and really learning how to be, I always say, learn how to be smarter than the tools that you're using. So if you're using social media or technology on any level, learn how to be smarter and sifting through the questions easier and quicker, and don't take everything for face value. And you have to be very you do have to be discerning, as anyone should be discerning of you as well, especially when we're meeting people, meeting meeting people from the internet, or we're like going out to lunch or going out to dinner. But there is a lot of protection in place, and that it is good, but also understanding that some point you have to let somebody in. So, okay, I'll give you a perfect example.
Mm.
I have a lot of clients that they work online, they work from home. They order all their food in, they go to the gym, they like go to the gym and come home, or they do like Peloton, so they're not really
Yeah.
leaving the
Yeah.
house.
Uh-huh.
And then they're like, why am I not finding anybody? I'm like, you're
Mhm.
kidding me, right? Like you're not like you're not out. Like you're not
Right.
out. And if you are on your computer all the time, because I have met a lot of amazing men from dating apps. If But I'm very discerning, and you have to know exactly what questions to ask, the pictures, meeting in a neutral place, but also letting that guard down so where they can reach out to you. So I do think we're all guarded, and we need to take a step back and really look at that, and then also take responsibility for our own actions. So it's kind of like twofold.
Yeah. Yeah, and let's maybe touch upon the the intuition part. If you do find yourself talking to somebody who, maybe they are trying to scam you or catfish you. I know for me, I really try to pay attention to how I feel in my body about somebody or a situation, especially if it's through technology, to get a sense of like, does this feel real and normal, or is there something off? And usually I use that as my barometer. Um, and then try to like find evidence one way or the other. But do you or spirit have any guidance there on like how do we utilize our intuition or guidance from our spirit guides to help us with that?
Yeah, that's a great point. So I always look for signs and symbols from the universe. So I will, for me, because I tend to be very spiritual, I will bring things into prayer, and I will ask my team or ask my guides, please show me if this person is good for me or not. Please give me a sign. And I ask for it 3 times, because one time can be like coincidence. Second time, you're like, oh, maybe that was luck. And then the third time, you're like, okay, I know that my spirit guides are talking to me. So it's kind of like we need like 3 times. And so I always tell them, please show me if I am supposed to talk to this person or not. Please give me a sign. And if we do it, God will give you a sign. The angels will give you a sign. Your spirit team will show you up, but you have to listen to it. And then it's also like decoding the sign, because sometimes I don't want to confuse people, but sometimes the signs are not that um easily accessible or read. So that's where you get like your friends or other people that are intuitive to read the signs. So my team, they're laughing right now. So I have like a group of psychic friends, right? Because that's who I am. So that's who I attract. So what I will do is I will send his picture, because I date men. So I will send his picture through this circle of psychic friends, and they will all like weigh in on him, and from a place of neutrality, because they love me and they want me to be with somebody. So they'll just give me, if he passed the test or not. And then some of my guy friends were like, we need to actually be in there as well, because like from a guy's point of view, just making sure that this person's okay. So what my guy friends have said is that they want to create a vetting team where they would vet him first before I even go on a date with him. Like, actually, like, are you a real person? Where do you live? Like, really getting information. Are you who you say you are? Or even meet up with him online or something before they even get to the door. And I'm like, that's a lot of work. But, so we've come up with different scenarios. So not that anyone may go that route, but it's kind of like having a matchmaking service, but your friends have your best, they have your best interests at heart. So, with that being said, ask your team. They will show you 3 times. I always ask things in the number of 3. That's just spiritual. You can go. Tesla has talked a lot about that. Einstein has talked a lot about that when you were using the quantum field to create a reaction and actually bring it through the universal construct. You want things in sequential numbers, usually 3, 6, and 9. So 3. So start. So ask for signs 3 times, and then also um, use your intuition. Now, when you were talking about using your intuition, I was thinking to myself, that is a really good way to discern, like feeling into your body. How do I feel about this person? Am I making excuses for maybe some of the red flags I see? So there's
Mm,
twofold. There's one, usually I find people make excuses for the red flags that they see.
yeah.
And then the
Yeah.
second one is they usually don't let anybody in or get close enough to show a red flag. So I'm like, we need to come back to center, guys. We need to do some prayer, some meditation, really feeling into the body. And then there's the women I work with that are survivors of domestic violence, and they really have a hard time dating because they cannot feel themselves appropriately. And
Mm,
that's where we come in with like a team of people, like your girlfriends who love, and trust. So like my girlfriends they're not judgmental. They're all married. They're all 20, 30, 40 years married, and they're all psychic. So they love love. So again, finding out who you're talking to, because if I go to a group of girlfriends that do not like their husband or not in a loving relationship, they're probably not going to give me the best advice. But I have a team of women who really do love love. And so those are the people that I will help, that help me make decisions when it comes to dating. And I do think that's more of the community and tribal aspect we're talking about. And I do believe that that's where we're returning back to.
yeah. That's a good point about who you're asking. And because I have seen that myself. You have a friend that's bitter about something that may not necessarily be the best person to talk to. You also brought up a really good point that I think we should talk about a little bit more. And that comes and that is healing prior to dating again. So for example, people have been really hurt in their past relationships. I think you and I have both we're we've been divorced, or we are divorced, and I that can be a very hard emotional experience. I know for me, it's felt a little bit scary to get into something serious again because of how difficult it was towards the end. And so I'm curious if you have any guidance on how much does a person realistically need to heal to have a responsible pause on finding the next relationship? But also, we could maybe go on forever without loving again, and that doesn't feel right either. So, what's the appropriate amount of healing before moving on to somebody new?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I get that a lot. I look at things in percentages because it's just easier for my brain. So I had this conversation with my sister, who again is looking for her husband, and she's almost 40, right? So has, I don't know if she'd like me saying that, but anyway. So I won't get too much into her story, but anyway, she is looking for love. So I'll just leave it at that. And so we
Mhm.
talk about percentages and talking about, because we both came from the same family, similar trauma, those things. And so I talk about percentages, maybe 70% healed in the last 30 you're working out in a relationship, or 80% healed the last 20 you're going to work out in a relationship, because I find that the last 20, like 30 to 10% you're working out in the relationship because there's things that you're not necessarily going to get triggered by unless you're with another individual.
Mhm.
But you need to have the bulk of the healing done before you enter into a contract, I believe, because then you're just creating and attracting and manifesting the same thing, expecting a different result. So it's like, I cannot go into a loving relationship still expecting to have this person understand who I am, what I'm healing from. I can talk about it, I can process it, but I need to do the bulk of that work independently and really go into, why did I how did I get that way in my relationship, and why was that attracted to me in the first place, and what do I need to look within to heal? Like for me, and because my story is very public, or I don't mind talking about it. So I attracted somebody that, cheated on me with one of my friends who was my nanny and then beat
Mm,
me up. And so it's like when that happened, and that was a 10-year relationship, I was just floored. First, you're angry, you're traumatized. I don't want to be with anybody at that point. And I have two babies. They were 1 and 2 at the time. And so of course, I was like, there's no way I can heal this. I had so much anger. So I knew my first 2 years out of that year and a half, I just was not good to be in a relationship. Very angry, very volatile. And so I just had fun. To be honest with you, I flew, I just had fun, hung out. Went like a little crazy in a good way, just meaning like, I was dressing very sexy. Not that I don't dress sexy anymore, but like where I was like the old stripper in me came out. Now I was like, I got my revenge body back. I was working out. I mean, not that I was bad looking when we parted ways, but I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get real hot. Watch. And so I and like naked pictures done of myself. Oh my God. I like really went out like professional because I wanted to remember that moment, and because I'm heavily tatted up. So I thought it would just look really beautiful. They're very tastefully done. One of my girlfriends is an amazing photographer. And it was just a moment in my life where I was honoring myself, my body, and finding my feminine edge again. And I needed to go through that. Now I'm 3 years out of that relationship. I'm looking for it through a much more grounded approach, but I feel healed in that 70, 80 percentile. And I'm looking for the last like 20% that's going to get woken up or triggered, or as I'm in another relationship. But I will like, and I just had a nice relationship with somebody, and I was able to talk about things that were coming up for me. So instead of getting enraged or blaming or having like this very volatile energy around sensitive topics.
yeah. Well, I think what you shared is something that it's a piece of advice that one of my coaches that I had worked with talked to me about. And it's this exuberant self love that you need to build for yourself. And then the mirror of that on your outside world will be reflected back to you. And that's when the love will really start coming in. And so you talked about your revenge body, getting your body, getting yourself, your health in a place that feels really, really good when you're taking care of yourself and feeling really good about yourself is definitely important to finding love. Um, you are obviously doing it too. You had talked about in your last episode that you walk around with so much love for yourself that you see it reflected back to you. I would love to get better at that. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes. So when all of this crashed down and I had absolutely nothing, the only thing that, well, not the only thing, but one of the things I focused on was my internal vibration. Because when you're starting from ground zero again, and for me, I was just left in such a bad spot financially. I was left with raising a 1 and 2 year old by myself, just loads of drama and trauma, I call it. And so I could only work with my internal vibration and my manifestation skills. And I am a firm believer of how you feel and how you think is what is going to manifest in your outer reality. Now, some spiritual people take that to another level, like, oh, he cheated on you because you manifested it. And it's like, no, bitch. Sorry. It's like, no, I didn't do that. But anyway, well, that's another week. We could talk about that. But working with that internal vibration of feeling like I'm worth, for me, I used to say to myself, I'm worthy of love. I love everyone and everything, and everybody loves me. Like there was just like a mantra that I had inside of my heart. And I could feel the layers of my heart opening up more. And that's really how I do my work too. That's how I read people, is because I love everybody so much. And so I see them through the eyes of God, or how I feel like the eyes of God would look at somebody, which just holds them in this beautiful space of love. And that's how I'm able to get information. So I did that for myself. I was like, okay, let me open up this channel of love that I know is innate within me. And as much as I love my children and I love my parents and my family, there's a self love. It's like really deep within that heart center that you can focus on and just imagine literally that your heart is opening up. You're focused on your heart chakra. There's three major chakra points within that heart center. And I would just imagine it that it was opening up, kind of like a Care Bear. If we're like, I'm a child of the 80s, some of you guys remember Care Bears, but like it's shooting up
Oh,
the
I love the Care Bears.
okay. So the image I get is like shooting like all that love out into the universe and then receive, and then it has to bounce back in with you. So then everybody that I meet, I'm like in essence in love with, and um it's funny though, because when I do that at the gym, like I get so much attention and I'm like, I'm not trying to do that. I'm just being loving,
Mhm.
and I talk about it with my clients, like turning the taxi cab light on and then turning it off. So like in the old days, old days, we're not old, man. We're in our 40s. We're young. So, but the taxi cabs in New York City would literally have a light and they would turn on and turn off when they were available, when they're not available. So imagine like that when you're walking out into the universe, and people are picking up on the subtle energy that you put out. So I could go out with hair up, no makeup on, yoga pants. And if I have my taxi light on where my heart's open and my light's on, I could go outside and get like 10 dates. Now, if I don't, yeah, really. And then if I have the taxi light off and I'm like inward, just pay attention to your vibration and how you walk around, then nobody's talking to me. People are like running from me. So it goes down into energetics, your aura, how your heart is, and putting that energy out into the universe, because I believe that there's nothing separating us from greatness. I believe that we can all, it's our birthright for all of us to be in love and to have abundance and to love everyone. And so just walking around as though you are in love is the best medicine, because I feel like that's what you're attracting in your life.
Oh, that is such good advice. Okay, so walk me through that. Do you kind of just before you let's just say you're stepping out for the day, you're going out at night, do you mentally say like picture yourself open or your taxi light on and before you go out and set the intention that you are open to love and you're going to generate it and share it with others as well?
Yes. If you've ever been in love, there is a very strong feeling, a connection that you have when you are in love with someone, when you're in love with somebody or something. So I act as though it's already happened, because in the world of the universe and energetics and quantum physics, it is. There's nothing separating us but our mind and the time reality space. So if you literally are collapsing time at that moment. So yes, getting into the vibration of love. You don't have to have a partner. You don't even have to have somebody on your radar. Just that vibration of love. I'm falling in love, and that love is all around me. It's like, I am love. I'm falling in love, and love is all around me. And I radiate love. And then I imagine literally like a Care Bear, my heart like exploding with love. And I'm putting it out into the universe. And then I allow it to come back and reverberate. So it's a constant loop. It's a feedback loop. So I'm putting love out into the universe, and then I'm receiving love.
Mhm.
And so I'm walking around, and what it does is it assimilates and it eventually goes out into your field. And so when people meet you in public, they're like, oh my God, who are you? Like, what do you do for a living? Like, oh my God, can I have your number? Please? Like, they just talk to
Magnetic.
you. Yeah.
Yes.
Go to the coffee shop, like Starbucks. Like I hang out at like places I want to meet people, like the gym, Starbucks, Whole Foods, just because that's the type of lifestyle I live. The Mercedes dealership. I get my car worked on. I was like, okay.
Love that.
Yeah.
So, so good. Yeah. I mean, I think this speaks to, and this is exactly what this podcast is about, is it's really conscious creation of love, being intentional, being consciously um, putting that love out there. We walk around so unconscious to what vibrations we are sharing with the world. I do it. I'm very guilty of it. But if we could just be so intentional, I think about, I don't know if you remember this feeling like the last time you were in love or with anybody, but like that feeling of when you're looking at somebody and you could almost feel like oh my God, I'm falling in love with this person, that wave coming over you, it's like that, and it's so exciting because 'cause you're like, "Oh my God, I love this person." That feeling is so great. So if you could just walk around with that feeling all the time and shine it like a Care Bear.
Yes, 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 yes. I love that because that's how it is. That is quantum physics. Well, okay, in layman's terms it is, but it's also the art of manifestation. So if you can get this, you literally can manifest anything in your life. So that's what I realized. I was good at manifesting business, great at manifesting clients, getting the word out about my products or service offerings, whatever I'm offering. And I'm like, why can't I do this with love? Why? What is going on? So, like, paying attention to what is in your programming or in your field that's stopping you from manifesting love because it's the same vibration.
So, is there a clue that spirit can give us when you're with somebody and it's a good connection? Like it's right for us. It's the person we're meant to be with. Is there some clue that you get or you've heard spirit give for when that connection is right?
Yeah, this is such a layered question because I get it a lot.
Mm.
So so there's a lot of what we call soulmates out there. Okay. So soulmates, people you're meant to run into, there's different timelines. And again, we can talk about this at a later date. But so when I see somebody who falls in love, because a lot of the girls ask me and I want to see a picture and I'll read their person and I'll let them know. So when we are falling in love, let's say there's 8 billion people on the planet. Let's say you have like 200 options. Okay. Let's say we don't have just one option. Like I don't, very far and few between is there one option. And I feel like that was our generations that came before us, not necessarily in this generational construct from what I'm seeing. So when somebody's falling in love, the angels will bring forward like 5 different options. And then it's you really deciding on what type of person you want to be with. And then you guys make like a soul contract. Now, if that contract ends or you choose different timelines, which can happen through self will and free will, then you move on and you can find another mate. So I don't want people, because there was this whole adage that went out into like the spiritual community, like there's just only one person and you have to find them. And a lot of people were going crazy over it. And it's just not, that's not how I see it. Yeah, it's just not how I've ever seen it, quite honestly. And I love love. Like I've 25 years of dating. Like I love love. I love falling in love. I love meeting people. I love hearing their story, and so I've had a lot of people in my life and I every single one of those men have really allowed me to open up my heart more and find out who I am as a woman. And I appreciate all of them. So, and I'm actually friends with most of them except for one who obviously we'll go into that at a later date. Um, yeah.
This is
So
your ex-husband,
my
right?
ex-husband, yeah, 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 yeah. I'm like, so- he's got a lot to pay for. Okay, so karmically, so my team is so funny. I have like all comedians up there. They're all chiming in. Like, they're all laughing. But so when you're with somebody and you feel very connected, I always like to say, like, look at it from like a business proposal, mind, body, and spirit. Do they check the boxes that you want to create in your life? And I like to say, mind, body, and spirit. I want somebody to and meet me on all levels, like consciousness, the way our lifestyle, the way we feel, the way we think. We can have differences of opinion, obviously. I don't want a clone of me, but like, mind, body, and spirit. They can't just be hot, okay? Like I mean, well, maybe it depends on what layer I'm in. You know what I
Right.
mean? No. So when I'm building a relationship, those are the things I look for. So I bring it into prayer. Like that's what I keep hearing from all the guides today. Bring it into prayer, bring it into your manifestation list, bring it into that time that you're by yourself. So being alone is good and really feel into it. Is this person right for me? And please show me a sign or let me know if they are not. And because I was healing from such big trauma, domestic violence, abuse, all different layers, I really needed help. So I would ask my team every time, please show me drop the veil if you need to. Like, show me what this person is really about if I cannot see it and I'm still healing. And sure enough, they will come in like a firebomb. So then you got to trust what you are seeing and also know that that is truth.
Yep.
And we are dealing with humans. So my team is starting to add in, like, even if somebody is showing you who they are, if there is uh, because we're all working on ourselves. Maybe they've recognized that trigger point or something, a way that they're acting in that relationship, like giving grace, I'm hearing, and allowing that person to work it out, whether it's an old trauma, a trigger, something that was brought up from a divorce, children, because we're all coming in through different various family dynamics and also relationship dynamics now, especially when you've been married once or you've been in a major relationship and you have children and businesses and all the things. So I am hearing, be a little bit like great, like allow grace to come in as well, but don't ignore the obvious signs. So again, self responsibility, bringing it into prayer, asking your team to be there, giving them, they're saying, giving them an opportunity to work with you on this. Because if we don't invite our spirit guides, our angels, our loved ones in spirit to have that up, like that loving hand, like a parent, they can't really intercede unless our life is in danger. And
Yeah.
I hope you don't get that way, but like, I hope it doesn't go that far, but they cannot intercede unless we invite them in because
Yeah.
they're benevolent beings just helping and watching until we call them in. So
Okay. Thank you for that. I think that's great advice, and I always have to remember to ask my guides for help because it's easy to forget that they're there and they want to help, but we have to invite them. So for somebody who feels discouraged or like they've missed their chance, I know for me sometimes I'm like, am I choosing the wrong timelines? Am I screwing this up for myself? Is that why it's not working? Do you have any reassurance or reassurance from spirit on on that topic? Like it sucks feeling that way to feel discouraged.
yeah, I absolutely do because I go there as well, especially for me because I'm a single mom of two little ones and it can be very lonely at times. So they always assure me that the point of us incarnating here at the end of the day, the highest point is love. Like beyond all the money, beyond all the fanfare with education and, our good acts and good deeds on the planet, love is the highest timeline. So all of us have equal access to love. Now, it's our own discernment and kind of not wanting somebody to be there or not ready. And again, paying attention to the energy field. What is the energy that I'm putting out into the universe? How am I going around my day to day life? Am I imploring that? Am I cultivating that? But I can tell you from 15 years of working with people, I have people in their 90s who are getting married, and I have people in their 20s who are getting married, and every decade in between, every age gap or age range. Thank you. I'm half in the channel. Okay, every age range, and then also people who have been married multiple times. I know people that have been married 2, 3, 4 times. So again, not having that stigma about not trying again. Or I have women who haven't been married yet and they're in their 40s and 50s and they're trying to find that first love.
Mm.
And I do
Yeah.
talk a lot to them about as women, we at this day and age have been geared to work on our career first and getting all of our financial health in order and then finding a partner. So that's why we're getting married at a later date as opposed to getting married in like our 20s and 30s because we're kind of like trying to get our career and who we are and trying to figure out the things that we want to do in life. And so we've kind of put marriage on the back burner and also having children. So having children in different ways, like through surrogacy or IVF and all the different ways and donors and the way that we bring about children has changed as well. It's become much more mainstream. So my point in telling you all of this is that spirit always says, don't give up on love. Do not give up on love and that love is available for everybody. And I have never, to be honest with you, because I work with mediumship, I do get the other side of life, which is people that have gone on, they've crossed over, and I've never had a spirit tell me like they weren't loved during this lifetime. Like love
Mm.
finds you one way or another, whether it's through multiple occasions, you have it more than once in your lifetime, or you have just that one strong love from your teenage years up until your 90s. So I've never had a spirit come back and say like I didn't find love, that I wasn't loved. And maybe that's just my client base, but I feel like I do have a pretty good handle on consciousness, and they all come back to me and say love is why we are here. This is the whole reason as to why we're on the planet, to love each other
Beautiful.
and to fall in love. Yeah.
Yeah, and what you said last time, which I really liked, was spirit wants us to love each other. Spirit wants us to do that because it helps raise the vibration of the planet.
Absolutely.
So, so, so powerful. Okay. So I have my final questions for you, but I just wanted to mention before we get into those, like, this is our second episode together. Our plan is to manifest 10 episodes about love because we both, well, we're both in that situation, but you're also feeling called to do this, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah. I definitely every time I talk about this, Spirit's like, we need to get a podcast out there. You have to talk to people about it because everybody is suffering and thinking they're doing something wrong.
Yeah. So our goal is to help everybody listening. So we hope this episode helped. We've got more coming. So stay tuned for more of us. And before we get into final questions, Nicole's an amazing medium. I love working with you one on one, and you also do shows. Do you want to tell us what you have coming up in March?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So I am at Soul Joel's Comedy Club and Ballroom, the Sunnybrook Ballroom every month, the last Wednesday of the month. I have a live spirit show where you can come and see me and a bunch of guests and audience members, and we have fun with spirit. We laugh and they come out with a bang, and the energy is off the charts. Like that's what I've been hearing from all the audience members is that they keep coming back because the energy, just for the energy, not even if they get read, they just want to sit in the room at the high vibrational energy, and then they can actually feel their loved ones in spirit, and it's the most amazing experience I've ever had. And so that to me brings so much joy, and you can also see how spirit weaves in a message for every person, whether you're getting that personal reading or not. So I'm there the last Wednesday of every month, and Joel and I just committed to another year of shows, so I'm super excited about that. So please join me in Pottstown, Pennsylvania, and then we can link everything below so you guys can come out and see us.
Yay! That sounds so good. And you'll probably have us on your website soon, but what sounds like you're going to be in Atlantic City at some point soon. Fingers
Yes,
crossed.
yes, 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 I will. Yeah, I'll have that on my website as well. So that is our next big show that we're working on. So we're bringing spirit down the shore for a good
Yes,
time.
down the shore. I love that. All right, awesome. All right, so final questions, and I'll try to switch these up because I always ask my guests the same question at every end, but you're going to be on a lot, so we'll try to like keep it a little bit different so that I'm not asking you literally the same question every single time. But today, so reflecting on today's conversation, what is one truth you hope our listeners remember about finding love in this season of life that they're in?
Yeah, that you haven't done anything wrong. Like, I feel like all of us try to figure out what we're doing wrong or that we're making us the problem, and I don't want anyone to feel like they're the problem. When we talk about manifestation and energy and subtle energy, like, that's why we're here on the podcast is we're learning how to become a better version of ourselves. So it's not necessarily that you've done anything wrong, it's that you're making tiny conscious little changes to, like, who and what you want to attract in your life.
Hmm. Okay. Thank you, because I always assume I'm effing something up. All right. So for somebody feeling lonely or disconnected or just so desperate for love, where would you suggest they begin? Is it reconnecting with themselves, spirit? What advice do you have?
Yeah, I mean, love a connection with spirit, obviously, like prayer, meditation, yoga, tai chi, like sound healing, sound bowls, something that reverberates and gets you to the center, right? Like sound meditation, sound healing for me when I cannot get a clear thought is a magic. You can turn on YouTube and do any kind of meditation now. Like again, technology has afforded us this lifestyle where we can just sit and go right into it. So I definitely love connecting with the self first, but also like take yourself out on a date. Figure out what you like. You know, how can somebody else come into your life like if you don't even know what it is that you like anymore? It's like I take myself out to eat. I will go on little mini vacations, road trips, like figuring out who I am again and what makes me happy and what are some of the qualities I'm looking for in a partner. Like for me, having an active lifestyle, being conscious about my food, funny. I love comedy. I love spirituality. So like these are some of the things that I look for in a mutual conversation or partnership because it gives me a lens into somebody's life. So yeah, I feel like take yourself out on a date, figure out who you are again.
Yes, that was the advice that I had gotten, and I think it's such a good one. Draw yourself a bath, pour yourself a glass of wine, get a nice dinner for yourself, go out, be the best date to yourself you can possibly be. That I think that's great advice. I am somebody who's a big proponent of it for sure.
Yeah.
Um, yes, and then the final question, in your point of view, what does it mean to live life and love consciously?
Yeah, that every day you get to become a better version of yourself. So for me, it's like admitting when, there's something that comes up that I need to work on or, always looking at myself. How can I be a better version of myself? And again, giving myself grace because there are days that the trauma comes back in or that the memories come back in and I get angry and I need to work on myself and allow myself to process that because I'm also not a proponent of stuffing emotions down. I don't think that does anybody good or acting like they're not there because I feel like they'll resurface at a later date. So I am a fire sign, double fire sign, and I will scream and let it out, and then work it out. Like literally go to the gym and work it out or go to yoga. So, but never giving up on yourself and always trying to put your best foot forward, like in anything that you do, especially with love. Really.
Beautiful message. Thank you so much. Any final messages that you want to share on this topic before we close out this one?
Yeah. So, just, keep an open mind. I feel like sometimes when you've gone through trauma, like for me, I'll just keep it for me. So when I hear other success stories with love and partnership and people getting married again and like, the big wedding and the ring and babies and all this stuff. And I'm like, there's a piece of me that gets upset because I'm like, "Oh my god, I was in such trauma when my babies were being born, and there's, like, a whole thing that happened, and I didn't get that motherhood." And I have to bring it back to center and be like, "Okay, but I am here today, and I'm with my children today, and I'm alive today, and I have my health today." 'Cause I do work with people that are either passing or they've lost a loved one on the other side, so I do understand if we are in the body today and you're breathing and you have a heart and you have your health and maybe your health isn't 100% but you are able to function throughout the day, you have a fighting chance. Like don't give up on yourself and really understand that you're not alone and that we're all kind of in some weird way suffering at this point. And it's like the Buddha and Buddhist teachings where we are our own worst enemy in that way. The greatest disease of the mind is that suffering and creating that separation. So when we learn to not give energy towards that suffering and we come into the space of awareness and the space of moving the needle forward and that tomorrow's a new day, today's a new day, the hour's a new time, we have a fighting chance. Like you're still here in the body.
Beautiful. That was a beautiful final message. Nicole, thank you so much for returning and bringing us this honest, compassionate, and wonderful perspective on behalf of yourself and spirit. Thank you so, so much. This has been awesome.
Thanks for having me. We're excited. Much more to come. So,
Much more to come. All right, listeners. If you've been feeling discouraged in love, disconnected, or unsure where you fit into this new relational landscape, you're not alone. I'm there too. You're not alone. But thank you so much for listening. Please share this with a friend who you think this could help. And to learn more about Nicole Angel and her amazing work and readings and workshops and live events, be sure to check out all of her information, which we'll link below. And I'll be listening, whether you're calling in love, healing from it, or learning how to hold it differently. Thank you so much for being here with us in the Clarity to Consciousness podcast. I'm Kristen Leigh Griffiths. And until next time, stay curious, live consciously, and keep seeking clarity. Much love. Bye for now.
Bye.